I used to think that living simply meant living very minimal and having like the most perfectly clean house as possible. And I used to chase that version of simplicity really hard. I feel like it had given me a lot of anxiety. It also had made me realize that I lost myself somewhere along the way of trying to make everything look perfect on the outside to other people, rather than focusing on what actually makes myself feel good, what I can actually handle myself. And I was so worried about what other people were going to think that I was just busy chasing things on the external world rather than on my own internal world. Hey, I'm Izzy, and I'm a mom of 5 kids, and I've been on pretty much every end of the spectrum when it comes to managing a house, routines, and even just taking care of myself. So I'm not here to judge how you do things or any of that sort. I'm just here to share what works for me and hope that it inspires you in some way, and maybe it's something you would want to try for yourself. So if you're still trying to figure things out for yourself, then stick around and listen. To kind of know how I evolved over time, I'm going to have to go back to like when I was a child. And I would say when we were really young, things were pretty out of order. But then my mom, I think my mom taught me as the oldest child how to clean really well. So that really stuck with me. I was fairly good at keeping things tidy and clean. And I came up with ideas with my siblings on cleaning up my room for me, where I would pretend like I was a vacuum monster and just vacuum, because vacuuming was my favorite. And so what I would do is I would help my siblings clean their room by being the vacuum monster, and then I would have them come and clean my room by being the vacuum monster and have them pick up my room. So you could say either that was a really smart system, or I don't know, whatever you want to call it. But as a child, I was fairly clean growing up, compared to my siblings at least. I didn't have as much stuff, but looking back, I also realized that a lot of the way I would clean is I would put a lot of my things in my drawers. I had lots of papers and stuff that I just piled into the drawers of my desk, or kind of hidden away in my closet. And then as I got older, I feel like I kind of pared that down a lot more the older I got. And then of course, once I had kids, it was a whole different ball game. So I think in a way, having kids really changed, or it just brought the issues up to make them a lot more noticeable than they were before, because I used to not handle the junk mail. That used to just pile up on our mantle or the fireplace or in random cabinets and shelves, and it's somehow I was blind to it. I don't know how, but I was. And looking back, I'm just wow, I was not as clean as I thought I was. But after that, that's when I kind of looked into more minimalism and stuff like that. And I went down that rabbit hole of decluttering even more, because my closet used to be stuffed full of things that I really never used. And so yeah, I got rid of a lot of stuff, and it felt really good to declutter and all that. But then I was so honed in on the aesthetic of people's minimalist homes, where everything was so white and not as colorful. And I don't know, I feel a lot of us have probably been there before, but I've realized over the years that that doesn't matter. People aren't going to judge you for the color of your house or anything like that. And if they are, then that's their problem. That's not your problem, okay? You can still enjoy life without having everything so plain and boring. There's got to be something that kind of brings you joy, any color that brings you joy. I love the color pink and I love the color green. So pink, green, and black are my top 3 favorite colors. And at least sprinkle a little bit of color in your home in some way. It doesn't have to be so stark. I don't know what I'm trying to say. So I want to dive more into that era of when I was a minimalist, and I actually built my own channel at one point and grew it to 357 subscribers within 3 months. But a part of me was just so scared of people judging me for not having a perfectly clean house all the time, or they might be oh my gosh, she has too much stuff, or she has too little stuff. I was so worried about what other people were going to think of me on that channel, and that I wasn't going to fit the identity of a minimalist. So I no longer call myself a minimalist. I just say that I'm living a simple life, because I don't aim to have the most minimal amount of things as possible, and I still splurge occasionally, because Like, that's what I do, okay? But I just try to be more intentional. I think the key term for living a simple life is to live it through being more intentional about what you are bringing into your home. Like, that's the overall thing. If you want to live a simple, easier life, you need to be intentional about every single thing you're bringing into your house. Don't just be like, oh, it's free, I'm going to take it just because it's free. That's not you thinking it through. That's not you being like, how am I going to care for this item? How am I going to clean this item? Is it going to break or something? Like, being intentional about it is you thinking ahead of time before you actually bring it into your house, because bringing it into your house, you have to manage it. It takes energy to manage items in your house, whether or not you are thinking about it. Like, you could have clutter sitting in the corner and your brain mentally still thinks about it. It affects you more than you think. The whole reason that minimalist era just kind of ended for me was because of that pressure of trying to start a YouTube channel and just feeling like I was being judged. So yeah, I didn't really like that, and that's why I'm not there anymore. But now I'm making this channel where I just share what I want to share without the pressure of that. And after that era of minimalism, I would say I kind of went rock bottom, because we ended up having to move. We were like in a really, really nice townhouse. We were so comfortable. Everything was together. We were about to have our 5th baby. And during that pregnancy, everything just kind of fell apart when my husband got laid off because they could not afford to keep him. And so I was trying to do anything I could possible to try to make money online at that point. That was like 2 years ago now. That's crazy. So yeah, I've tried a lot of things. I've learned a lot of things through that journey on the internet of trying to make money online in different ways and doing a lot of pivoting and that type of thing, until I landed here, where I feel like this is like me sharing more of my actual identity and feeling more comfortable without the pressure. Because the pressure, I don't want the pressure of having to try to be perfect or anything like that. That's why I have this channel. Another reason why. Basically, once we moved into the house that we're currently in, like 2 years ago, I hit like depression, anxiety, and I literally didn't want to do anything. I was just purely focused on trying to focus on myself and making sure my pregnancy was healthy and good, and that once the baby got here, it would be healthy and have a nice place to stay for me, and everything for that was set up. So like my first priority was like setting up all our beds when we first moved in, and not even worrying about like unpacking all the boxes, because I literally had to like pack majority of the things by myself as a pregnant woman who is like 7 months pregnant. And I remember I actually like slipped on the stairs at our other house while I was like going up and down, and I wasn't even holding anything, but I slipped and I had a huge bruise like on my lower back, and that really hurt. And then when we first moved into our house, I nearly had a whole nail go up my foot. It went through my shoe, and I literally just collapsed to the ground before it could like go up my foot, and it like poked my foot a little bit. I actually still have like a little scar on the bottom of my foot from that. So yeah, luckily that wasn't any worse, but I think I'm like kind of drifting off topic now. My brain likes to do that sometimes, so hope you're okay with that. When we moved into this house, it was not cleaned properly or anything like that, so like I had to call them, and they had to like get a cleaning person to come in and clean. They bought one lady for like this huge house, and she didn't even do that good of a job, honestly. Like, it is what it is. Like, at least it was something. I ended up having to like re-clean a whole lot of the areas to get them much cleaner. And then there was also like a pest problem that wasn't dealt with for the longest time. Like, our landlord didn't take care of anything. Thankfully, we did get a new landlord like maybe a year after that. And like the pest problem has finally been taken care of. So we don't have to deal with that like we used to. And that was one of the big things giving me a lot of anxiety in this house, was like, I don't like bugs and I don't like mice in my house. Okay, like if they're outside, like they can mind their own business outside, but being in my house, I don't like that. And I know it's a kind of ironic to like not like mice or anything like that, but mice can be very destructive. Okay, like if you've never had mice in your house, then you just don't know. There was just like problem on top of problem when we first moved in with this house that was just taking forever to get taken care of. And like when you're about to have a baby, that anxiety, it just like piles up. Okay, I was just so anxious. I was just like, I want to get out of this situation so fast. I hate living here. And what the heck is that noise? There is a loud truck outside. Okay, anyway, I got distracted again. So when I was pregnant, when we moved into this house, like everything just kind of hit me because I'm worried about this baby coming into the world and I want everything to be perfect and clean, you know, the nesting period. And I just didn't want to be in this situation anymore, and I was like kind of desperate at that point. So that's when I started like an Etsy shop, and I started trying even harder to make money online. And I spent like 7 months on Etsy before I pivoted and started like social media and trying to do like digital product type stuff and lots of different things. Like I tried out AI, I learned a lot about that, and I just kind of kept going. And then I had a lot of things going on in my own personal life that was very emotional over maybe the past year or so, and that's been difficult. Honestly, it is still difficult for me, and I don't want to like give too many details on that because that's like personal and I don't know the outcome of it right now. But yeah, I feel like through that though, I have learned to regulate my emotions a lot easier, and because of that, I'm able to finally come into a place where I can create content without falling off like the face of the earth. It was like a hard point in my life where I literally barely did anything to take care of my house or anything like that because I was just so depressed. I called my car like a depression car because it was so bad. Like I never let it get that bad before. It was absolutely crazy. And now I feel like I'm in a place where I'm more of like a happy middle, where I don't like clean everything to be sparkling clean and perfect and all that. But I also don't just let it sit and get bad or anything like that, you know. And with 5 kids, it can be a lot sometimes, but having my kids help out, that helps me out. And I have systems now that actually help my kids, and they help me out to stay on track with things. So things are never getting too overwhelming, and there's a perfect balance. Like there's just a balance, okay? It's that balance that you need to have to live a life that you enjoy, but also not letting everything crumble and fall to pieces under your feet. Through all that and figuring out what worked best for me, I did a lot of testing of different things, and my absolute favorite thing that I have created so far, that I have stuck with so far, I'll share this pretty quickly, is this chart system where it's like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then I have a list of tasks for each day of the week on it. And then I just check off everything for that day. And each day has like one focus area for my house. So like one day is bedrooms, one day is bathrooms, one day is like the downstairs area and hallway area, and so on and so forth. So like on Saturdays and Sundays, those are like my rest days where I either do like a little bit of catch up on things that I didn't get to finish before, or I just take the time to fully rest and enjoy my day. And it's been pretty sustainable for me. And like, in order for this to really work out really well, the first step would be to make sure you declutter, make sure you only own the amount of stuff that you are capable of handling and managing. And that looks different for every single person, so only you can determine that. So the last thing I realized that I really needed to work on was actually myself, okay? Because originally, like I said, I was like so focused on the external world and making sure everything looked perfect on the outside, when really I need to work more on the inside and myself. So that's something I am still working on a lot. But basically, like, saying kinder words to yourself really does help, and making sure you eat balanced meals. I've found out recently how meals are like 80% of everything, and like exercise is lower on that scale of your meals, which honestly just like hit me. Like, I've heard that so many times before, but for some reason it just clicked with me more that day. And I'm just like, I'm discovering the more you take care of yourself, the more you can give to other people, the more you can like manage things more easily. So pouring more into yourself, like your hobbies, your time spent, and like putting on a little bit of makeup, getting dressed for the day, doing your hair, whatever makes you feel more put together and feel good about yourself. Those things help so much more than I think everything else that I've even said. That's the thing that helps the most, is just making sure you take care of yourself and not putting yourself last. What does simple mean to me now? It means that I don't bury myself in too much to do. I don't self-abandon myself. The house doesn't have to be perfect. Routine doesn't have to be perfect. I don't have to have everything all together all the time. However, I do need to show up for myself and take care of myself. That's the most important thing of all of this, is being intentional about things I bring into my home and taking care of myself. Those are the two top things that I think are the most important things for leading a simple life that you actually love and enjoy. Honestly, the idea of simplicity has such a spectrum, like such a wide spectrum, that I can't determine what is simple for you, but I determine what is simple for me. So for example, like the other day I had a little bit of a debate on period products, because I was like, I didn't know how someone could use something that like wasn't a reusable pad or a reusable cup, because to me, reusable period products are simple and easier to use, in my opinion. So then I learned after my thread went viral that that's not the case. Some people actually find like the disposable pads more easy and better to manage, especially if they're out and about during the day. And there were so many responses. It was just mind-blowing to me, because I just didn't fully think about that before. But, you know, it makes a lot of sense, because like if you don't want to do your dishes, sometimes people opt for the paper plates, like I do occasionally. And that's because sometimes I don't feel like doing the dishes and we don't have a dishwasher. So sometimes I do opt for the paper products, and then it's just easy to just throw out, okay? Like for me, that's simple. So everyone has their own idea of what simple is, and we can't judge what is simple based on one term. Simple is a huge spectrum, just like minimalism is a spectrum as well. And I guess in that sense, people could still judge like how simple you are versus how not simple you are, and people could have debates on that, whatever. But I'm saying simple to me, this is what simple means to me, and for you, it might mean something else. And I would love to hear what your version of simplicity is. So if you have your own version of what you think being simple is, then leave it down in the comments for me. I'd love to read what you think. The most important part is that you're leading a life that makes you happy and that you are capable of managing without forgetting about yourself. Like, I'm not here to give you some kind of secret formula that's going to like instantly simplify your life or anything like that. I'm just here sharing my own experience, sharing what I enjoy. What I want to share in each video on this channel is just more of what helped me become myself and feel more like myself and live a more sustainable, happy lifestyle. By the word sustainable, I mean like sustainable in my own energy levels, where I'm not like too overwhelmed or like very unproductive, you know, like there's like that happy balance, like we said. So what I mean by sustainability is just having that perfect little balance in your life where everything is balanced out and nothing is like too much over the other. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe, like, and leave a comment down below. Let me know what your version of simplicity is, and I will see you in the next video. I am planning to do a yarn haul soon, so that's probably what's coming next.